hour ago. She
Yeah.
jumped on the other. And we're back. We're live. Epic Lunch and Learn, the show that meets real estate meets real talk, and your lunch break turns into a masterclass. I am your host, Dante Royster, mortgage broker, author, and your guide through the maze of money. How you doing, Vince?
All right, man. And I'm the sidekick for the show, maybe 2 to 3 times out of the week. So thanks for having me again, man. Appreciate the audience yesterday. I know you said we had over 300 people view the thing.
Yeah, no, it was awesome. No, and we've been very fortunate and appreciative that people are loving the information that's coming, and appreciate it. And hopefully, we can deliver on a day in, day out basis, because that's what you need from us, and that's what we're here for you. But I definitely wanted to start off the show, and just give our thoughts and prayers out to the Kirk family. I didn't even recognize that Charlie Kirk was from Arlington Heights.
Yeah, I
Um,
didn't know that. I mean, it's a terrible thing that's going on. I mean, regardless of where you're at politically, that can't happen.
No, no. I wrote some to a couple of my buddies, and it was really more of a self reflection more than anything, and the self reflection was kind of in the concept of when we interject ourselves into the world, by merely mouthing opinions and facts and information, like people can take it how they want to take it, right? Some people are going to be happy about it. Some people are going to be, I don't agree with that. And, and that's a scary part that, there's consequences to,
Sure.
interjecting yourself to the world. And, our words have meaning and our mouths are a weapon. And so we have to be cognizant of that because, there are consequences for what you say.
Yeah, obviously you know me for a while. I'm the type of guy to fly off the handle, right? And sometimes my mouth gets me in trouble, and that's not anything to what happened in light of the situation. But then again, too, with today being the anniversary of 9/11, right, kind of brings back, the memories of what happened that day. I was waking up in the morning, going to school at Arizona State, saw the planes go right through the buildings,
Mm.
and, in anger, I made a bad comment. I called the school and said, "Hey, the school's closed, right? Blah, blah, blah." And, they called me back and like, "Did you just say this to, on the school?" I'm like, "Yeah, sorry." And it was one of those reactions, right? Like something happened or an event, but it just goes to the point of, there's no room for what happened politically, side messages aside or whatever needs to stop.
Yeah, no, 100%. And obviously we want to be in a free country where we can speak our own opinions and thoughts. But, but in the crazy world that we're in, we still have to be mindful that, consequences. So it's very sad. It's very sad. So thoughts and prayers go out to the Kirk family. And, obviously, and to your point, September 11th, I was in college myself. That is funny. I forgot you went to Arizona State. My in-laws went to Arizona State. They're Sun Devils.
All right.
Um,
Go Devils, baby. Go Devils.
that's hilarious. Sparky.
Yep. Met him a
Sparky.
couple times, whether he wanted to meet me or not, but it is what it is.
So yeah, so I was in college, and I was telling my kids, they're like, "Where were you?" And I was like, "Well, I actually got done taking a yoga class. I was actually in a yoga class in the morning. Obviously, consequently trying to meet girls. So I was in a yoga class, got done doing yoga, and I went to get something to eat, and then I heard about all the crazy, like whoa, and then
Yep.
classes
I mean,
were canceled and stuff like that. So
correct.
very tragic. So yeah, thoughts and prayers go out to all the families. Yeah, thoughts and prayers. So, one thing I thought about today as I wanted to write a little opener, I, I said,
Hey, we're having some audio issues, just so you know. I don't know if you see that. Just so you know, there's a little bit of a lag.
you guys remember remember New Year's Day? Do you guys remember New Year's Day? The one a boost to keep climbing toward the goals already in motion.
Hey, bud, your audio's bad.
We call these promises New Year's resolution.
Hey, Dante, not sure if you can hear me,
The
but I
shining
sent a
dream looks
text message.
further away than ever.
There we go. Maybe. Hey, we're having a bad connection. Can you hear me?
It does.
Can hear you a little bit.
Or how about
Still
now?
lagging.
Did you hear any?
Can you hear me? Nope. You want to sign up? You want to disconnect and reconnect?
Yeah. How about now?
Yeah. I can hear how about now, and then it lags when you're talking.
Give it a second.
Why's my head on the screen, man? Not sure if you guys can hear us. We're going to try and fix this.
All right, buddy. How about now? It looks good.
Yeah, I can hear you crystal clear. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Doesn't seem like we have a lag now, so we're good. You were cutting off, like we were hearing every other word. I heard a little bit of, hey, on New Year's. I don't know if you were going like all the football games on New Year's Day from years back, or if you were going about resolutions and making a early morning yoga class every day to pick up the girls in college. I don't know which way you were going, so I'll make up my own story.
No, you know what? To each his own. Yeah, but definitely New Year's resolutions. It's funny because as we're winding down September, right? It's the end of quarter three. We're going to be going into Q4, and I mean, to some degree, as you get older, it seems like the days just get faster and faster.
Yeah.
And it's like before of a blink of an eye, it's like, man, we're already about to be in Q4 in just about 2.5 weeks. And so I was thinking about New Year's resolutions and all these goals and dreams that you had way back at the beginning of the year. Where are you? Where are you to your goals and dreams? Have you given up on them? Just where are you, in fact? And so I thought that was a good segue into, have you stuck with the strategic plan? Have you stayed, holding on to that invisible rope on the goals that you're trying to achieve?
Yeah, I mean, and I wish we would have been able to hear everything you were saying, but I mean, with that being said, right, everyone makes goals. You want to achieve those goals. You want to be able to review those goals, and you want to make your adjustments going into the next year. And I don't want to always make this about rate. I like to go off the cusp and change the topic. You may have another outline, but at the end of the day, guys, next week is a very, very big week to what's going to happen going forward into 2026 in regards to goals for people financially. I don't know if you can hear me.
I can't.
You're frozen. You're frozen? Are you good?
No, I'm good.
Okay.
No, it was I read some I like to read in the mornings. That's when it's still peace and quiet before the phone calls start happening.
How
And
do you find all the time, man? You got 2 kids, a wife, and you're
come
running a
on,
business,
man.
man. How do you find the time? I mean, I know you're in the office by 8:00 in the morning, but still, and I know you were in the office again at 8:00 last night because you sent me the link for this, or you were sending it from home. Either way,
No,
you
I
were
was
still
here.
working. Either way, you were still working.
And I still saw my son's first soccer game. So yes, I made it happen. You just got
Good
to make
job,
it
man.
happen.
That's the important stuff. Making sure you take care of the home at home too.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. No, I read, I have a, a stationary bike. So I'm on the stationary bike getting the workout in and I'm reading all these but I'm still a paper guy. So I'm the guy that's actually printing out articles that I see online like, "Oh, I want to read about FBI shares images of person of interest. Oh, I want to read that." So I'll grab it, I'll print it out, and then I'll have all this like almost like an old school newspaper, my own version, and I'm just reading all these articles as I'm riding the bike, pedaling. So it's crazy.
I can only imagine because your spare office looks like a hoarder's room with all the paper and all the stacks of everything going on.
This is true. So, we were talking about the what I read earlier today, and it's kind of crazy was the BLS report and just how the adjustments were made. We kind of touched on that yesterday, and
Yep.
it was almost like a million off, 2 million off, and and President Trump, fired that guy. And at first, if you don't read the stories, you're like, why is he firing that guy? But he had every right to fire a guy that really misled the economy. The
Yeah,
economy was misled, and that's
correct.
crazy.
I mean, at the end of the day, right? If you're not doing your job, you're supposed to be fired. If you're not doing what you need to be doing. And again, jobs are the basis of our
Correct.
economy. It is what it was. It's political. You didn't want to get involved. It was an election, whatever. There's always something behind it, right?
Bottom
But at
line.
the end of the day,
Yeah,
the
no,
consumer is the one that suffers. So we're back to a poor connection again, I think. Yep. Sorry to the audience,
well,
guys.
hold
We're gonna
on, Vince. Yeah,
bad connection
we're having
today.
technical issues again. We're gonna have to rely on this. Yeah, it hasn't
You there?
been this bad
No, it's just cutting in and out.
in a while.
This is kind of like the first show we did. The last 10
We haven't
minutes we were
seen
having
this,
this,
so I
but this,
apologize, audience. Give us a second. Is this going to be a situation where we don't know what to say? But we've never had that issue, luckily.
yeah, I think we're back.
How are you? Okay.
I think we're good.
So, all right. Well, go ahead with your because I missed everything you were saying.
Yeah, no, I mean, I was saying, I mean, Trump making the firing and doing, I mean, at the end of the day, when someone's not doing their job, you get fired, whether it's political, whether it's the real world, it's life, right? If you're not doing what you need to do. Numbers are important. It's important for everybody in all levels of economics.
Yeah, it's sometimes the abrupt nature of sometimes his actions, you're like, what is he doing? Why is he doing that? But once you read the story and you start, like, to be so far off on reports, and those reports are very important, because that's where our markets are relying on. That's what Jerome Powell, the Fed chair, relies on, to get the right information so he can make the right answers. So
Correct.
this lag of not reducing rates, if we had the truth, from a late 2024 to present, we probably would have already had maybe 1 to 2 rate reductions.
Yep. And then now you hear, Wednesday, maybe 50 basis points and that. I mean, I don't think we're going to get that extreme, but the numbers are kind of there.
Correct.
And the other thing too, what's been nice to see, and I know we talked about this before, the 10-year under 4 is what we need, but we needed to close under 4. It went under 4 this morning and then bounced back over.
Yeah.
So, like I said, we're going to have a lot of activity coming into the marketplace. People have been waiting for this opportunity to refi. It doesn't mean to do it immediately. It's to get prepared because there are probably going to be more rate cuts.
Right.
And what I mean by that is, if it's the right move, do it now, and then maybe you do it again in 8 months or a year from now, depending what happens.
No, agreed. Obviously, the situation is, well, how do I get myself prepared? How do I get myself ready to go? It's about, setting and establishing a budget for yourself. You want to make sure you also, have some type of personal savings, saved up. Obviously that's a huge importance. And then, then you want to focus on your credit, make sure the credit is intact. And then always looking at your income. How are you getting paid? Is it enough, to fit your lifestyle, and what avenues are there? But I think the job report tells us that, there's been a stagnation in job, creation, and
Correct.
and there's variable reasons to that, right? We've gotten into it. I mean, from tariffs to just, really a lack of, I don't know, what would you say? I mean, I attribute it to tariffs.
It's movement.
And movement of money.
It's movement. To me, everything is based off of movement, right? I mean, what I'm looking forward to here, and we'll see it, transactions, people buying and selling creates economic gains.
Correct.
Right? And in my opinion, housing makes up 30% of the economy.
If not more, would you say, or no?
Yeah. I mean, I'm just, throwing a number out there, right? You buy a house, you buy appliances, you buy furniture.
Correct. Yeah, I was going to go there with you. Like, man, we have a client today closing right now, the Jackson family. They're at the title company right now, closing it out. And so the Jackson family goes out there, closes on the house. What are they going to do? They're going to, so who's getting paid on the transaction? Obviously, the realtors are getting paid. The title company who's closing the deal gets paid. The real estate attorneys in Illinois get paid. The buyer is going to want to buy your appliances, right? So they're going to go to Menards or Lowe's or Home Depot is going to get paid. The seller, he's the seller. He's going to get paid. This
right?
one is a real estate.
Exactly, right? And not to cut off, but I mean, that goes to the whole
so he's going to
point.
Get paid.
That goes to the whole point of someone taking that money that's in the house,
real estate property,
and bringing it out. Yeah, we're both talking over each other. If you can hear me, don't forget, Cook County gets paid if it's an Illinois transaction in the city of Chicago with them transfer taxes too. Throwing a little joke out there. Again, I know you guys can't hear Dante. I don't know if you can hear me. We apologize for the technical issues here today.
On a rainy day, it's 76 degrees in the Midwest today. Right outside of Chicago. So there's a lot of movement.
You hear me?
This is the one.
You're going to need an IT guy here. Get this fixed for Monday.
You there, buddy?
I'm here, buddy. Can you hear me, buddy? And just to let the audience know, we're talking to each
Yeah,
other on our cell phones, texting each other. We can't hear each other.
exactly. Exactly. That's crazy. It happens.
Yeah,
Technology is goofy. We're still trying to figure it out. It's not 100%.
yeah. I mean, it is what it is, right?
But,
The show must go
it,
on. We're talking to each other and talking over each other, but it must still go on.
Hey, I got some stats, man. I'm in some numbers. I wanted to bring out some stats on just some ideas.
I'm
It
glad
said
you
the average American.
I'm glad you verify the numbers that I throw out there. Thanks.
The average American retires at 62. The life expectancy at 65 means most people live another 18 to 20 years of retirement.
Yeah, I'd agree with
So,
that.
so 60, let's say 65 years old, you're going to live 20 years to 85.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say you want to have $80,000 a year coming to you, for those 20 years.
Sure.
That's 1.6 million. That's 1.6 million. It's 80 times 20. It's a simple algebraic equation.
Simple math. Right? Take the principal,
Yep.
take the gain, divide out the number. Here's how long it lasts without growth or whatever. Right?
Correct.
Same principle. I was listening to CNBC this morning. When all the numbers came out, PPI, CPI yesterday, CPI this morning, the labor number, and they basically said the baby boomers loving this market right now because they have all this wealth in their 401k. And it's just continuously to increase.
Yeah, I was looking at the market today too. I mean, it said the S&P 500 is up 10%.
Yeah, I mean, it's a straight line up. I mean, there's a dip in April. Okay, there's some small dips, but I mean, we're consistently going up, which is fantastic. Correct. But it creates inflation.
Correct. And then I think you get the prognosticators that want to, just be the one right in the room that said, well, it's bound to go down. I mean, of course, we all know it's bound to go down, but no one knows when. I mean, it's just law says it can't keep going up. It will have to have a correction somewhere. And that's what it is. It's not going down. It's just a correction. When does the correction happen? No one knows. No one knows when that correction happens.
But when you really start making your retirement money, you plan for it. You started in your 20s and your 30s. You plan in your 40s and your 50s. And in your 60s is when you're actually seeing big returns.
Yeah. Well, and that brings me up. And I love that you we're passing the ball right to each other.
Without being able to hear each other. We're still being able to figure this out. And I'm not reading from any piece of paper, ladies and gentlemen.
No, so I have a client, 48 years old, bought his first property 12 years ago. Bought it for $75,000. He's 2 or 3 payments away from paying it off. He got married, and him and his wife went ahead and got a new property, bought a new house, and kept the existing house. And so now, fast forward, 12 years. He's 47 years old, got basically a free and clear house, and his current house is worth about $400,000, and he owes about $230 left on it. And I kind of looked at that one today as I was running through the ideas of what do you do next? Where are you? We were talking about that yesterday, and I wanted to have some case studies today on just what do you do next? Where are you?
Where do you go, right? I mean, because
you sell that house, the investment property 70. So do you sell the house at once to take 170?
So to me, I mean, we're having issues again, right? It goes down to I'm a big believer of take your cash and do other things with it. Leaving money tied up in real estate is difficult depending on how you want to really look at your portfolio.
Yeah. I mean, there's no right or wrong.
Right. We always, you always, it's a great line. There is no right or wrong, right? As long as you're doing something.
Correct. I mean, so I didn't hear everything you said, but I mean, he could sell the investment property, take the 175, and put it down towards his primary residence, knock that down to 60,000 and be 60,000 away from being debt free, right,
Yes,
on a mortgage.
that's true, right? But then you're sitting on essentially $400,000 worth of assets in real estate, not doing anything for you,
Correct.
right? And like, that goes back to like when I had my conversation with my buddy a couple weeks back. I'm like, hey man, your real estate is basically, I look at it like this: your real estate is your bond portion of your portfolio.
There you go. CD, bond. Yep.
Right? Safe, secure, gains a 4 or 5% appreciation. It's a forced savings account, so forth and so on. But leaving that amount of money sitting there doing nothing, to me, is the wrong move, right? Like, and I think I said this in the very first show we did. When people retired in 2022 or 2021 and they truly retired, I had family members that paid their house off, giving up a large sum of money when interest rates were at 3%. So it's all about a balancing act as to where you are in your life cycle and where we are in the market cycle. To me, I would tell your friend to take some of that money and put it in the kids' education funds and start their wealth as opposed to worrying about yours. It's a different way of looking at it, but then you have more years of tax sheltered and deferred growth.
Right.
But like I said, you got to be doing something with it.
Yeah, no, it's definitely so so that's just that's an option A, right? He could sell the investment property, go ahead and put it down on his primary residence, and then from there he could be $60,000 away from being virtually debt free. That's one example he could do. Another example he could do is he could cash out, refinance the investment property, take, let's just say 75% of the 175 is roughly about 130, take 130,000 and put it into his portfolio, either by buying another investment property, or B, looking at potentially, a scenario where, hey, I got this extra, I put it into stocks.
Right. And to take that one step further, let's say he did liquidate the property and it's got $150,000. If he's not maxing out his work 401k, then that would be the goal of what to do with that money.
So take the money out and just put it and max out your 401k.
And $25,000 a year goes into your 401k, and you take from there and make sure your wife does it. And then the money's sheltered and the growth is there and it's there for your retirement. Another option would be pay the current mortgage off on the primary, sell the investment property, and then go buy another investment property that would be free and clear, pay for it in cash, and now have the $2,000 a month in rent roll.
Right.
Those are the two options, right? But what happens is you feel comfortable that you got that lump sum of money there, and now fear sets in. I'm 47 years old. What happens if the market changes and I lose it?
Correct.
I don't have time now to make it back, right? And so that's kind of the questions that everyone has that's coming up. And I think we're going to see a lot of this when people really start. We're going to have houses that are going to start to sell in 2026.
Yeah, I just look at it and think of it to myself like, it's a 4-bed, 1-bath house is the investment property in the area that he's in. You could probably get about $2,000 a month. I mean, now $2,000 a month, free and clear, it's nothing to sneeze at. I'm definitely not saying that, but it doesn't necessarily it's hard to maneuver. It's hard to, it's like, okay, $2,000 a month. I mean, that's going to, that's groceries, gas,
right. It's gone, right?
It's gone.
Right. Oh, the house needs a roof. Well, there's $15,000.
Correct. And
right?
and then the whole dollar cost averaging concept. I mean, it's just going to take so much time. And this is the thing I've always loved about you, and that you talk about is, that 10% analogy. If 10% of $1,000 is 100, but a 10% of 100,000 is 10,000, and it's just placing the money in the right situation. You can just do more with lumps than you can with small bills.
Correct.
I mean, and that's, to me, at the end of the day, what's always important is get to the lumps. If you have an opportunity to get lumps, now you can make real moves. You could do much more with $40,000 than you could with $400 every month coming in. I mean,
Yeah.
because it's an accumulation that has to take place with the dollar cost averaging mindset of every little bit. Now, if that's the only route you have, then of course that's the route you have to go. But
Yeah.
until then, but you know what I mean? I mean, because that's what you're
Yeah.
building. You're building the snowball effect.
Correct. I was trying to jump in there because I mean, my theory to that is you got to get to the first 100,000 first, and that's where that snowball starts to work. But you got to get to the first 100,000 first.
And is that 100,000 liquid?
Oh yes, not tied to an account, not tied to a property, purely liquid. It covers you from the standpoint if you have a job loss. It covers you if there's a drop in the marketplace. You're not investing everything at once. You keep the money in your IRAs or your 401ks. But you got to have that principle as that safety net. If you're truly going to look to build wealth and do it, I don't want to say the right way, from the standpoint of I'm doing what I need to be doing, but you have to get there first. And, that's a hard task for some people to get to that number. It's not easy. You don't know what comes up in life.
It's not easy. And the thing is, I just don't think, and I was saying this earlier today, I was like, our job is to provide solutions. That's ultimately our job. Our job is to provide solutions to help people. But people need to realize that they have a problem.
Yeah, no one wants to admit that.
Correct. I mean, because what's the first thing that they say about, an alcoholism, right? The first step to alcoholism is to recognize that you have a problem.
Well, that's to any addiction or to whatever problem. If you don't want to, but yeah, right. You have that, like at a young age, at 20 or 30, you're not thinking that, right? And that's the discipline, right? It's, I'm just having fun. I'm having a good time. But if you start this early, to get to that 100,000 is a lot easier if you start in your 20s.
Correct.
If you start in your 30s, you got to fund it faster than you think you can.
Correct.
Right? Because at that age, you're starting to get married, you're having kids, and now the money's like, oh, well, wait a minute, what are we doing? But you have to be disciplined enough to do it. And you have to strategically plan it with your significant other in order to obtain what needs to be done.
Yeah, I think over the months coming, future, we're going to continue to have these conversations, look at different case studies on how people are handling things and what they're going to do, But the first step, I really am starting to form that opinion that we have to recognize we have a problem. We're too much materialistic. We're buying things that we don't need. I've had an issue with subscriptions. Lord knows I've had issues with subscriptions. But
right? You buy one, you get another one, and then by the end of the month, you're like, I'm spending $300 on, I got NFL, Netflix, I got Stars, I got this, I got that, and you're like, what?
And then you don't use it, you forget about it, and then you get some email or notification like, hey, your auto.ai just renewed for $96, and you're like, I forgot about it. Well, how do I get rid of this thing?
Or you forget about what email you use for the NFL app, and you end up having charges twice in your account in order to watch all the games.
There you go.
Because you open up another account.
Yeah. No, it's definitely a thing. It's definitely a thing. So here, let's do these housekeeping notes. This episode today is sponsored by Epic Mortgage. Whether you're buying, investing, or refinancing, contact Epic today. That's 708-905-5300, 708-905-5300. Your dreams, your goals, let's plan together. If you are looking for that blueprint, if you are looking for that step-by-step playbook for turning your mortgage into a wealth-building machine, the first step is to buy that book on Amazon. It's called The Ultimate Mortgage Guide. The Ultimate Mortgage Guide is available on Amazon. Make sure you get the book, and that'll help you start answering some of the questions and have you pondering what's possible. As a mortgage broker, we have access to multiple products and programs. So on Sunday, when some people are watching football, speaking of football, I will be yours truly at the Home Buyers Brunch at Morgan Park United Methodist Church on Sunday at 1 o'clock at 11030 South Longwood Drive, Chicago, Illinois. The Home Buyers Brunch is want to buy a house. It'll have a DJ. It'll have some food. It's Attorney Prayers Legal Solutions, who is bringing the home buyers brunch to us. I think PNC is going to be in the building, so appreciate that. So definitely, check me out on Sunday. After this show is over, today is Thursday. After the show is over, make sure you check out the new, fresh Epic Spotlight interview by Natalie Ramos. She is the Director of Individual Giving at Teach for America. She shares her 15 years of experience in nonprofit fundraising and philanthropy. Discover leadership lessons, network strategies, personal branding tips, and actionable advice for breaking into the nonprofit sector. So check out the most recent episode of Natalie Ramos' Epic Spotlight. That's on our YouTube channel, Epic Spotlight. Make sure, as we always ask, give this a like and share it with friends and family. Let us know that this is the content that you want to hear. Appreciate all your support. So make sure you're giving us a like, whether you're on LinkedIn, Facebook, or YouTube. Appreciate that. And let's go to the preferred listings.
Hey, before you hit the preferred listings.
Yes, sir.
If you can't hear us, still like us. But go ahead.
Your screen is frozen, but I hear you just fine.
Well, good. Because, I took my readers off today. I got some issues with my eyes, and it is what it is. But that's fine, as long as you can hear me.
Yeah, you're doing a great job. Preferred listings, we have 8228 South LaSalle, Chicago. It's going for $250,000. It's a 3-bed, 1-bath. Contact Amico Pope, 312-600-7673. We also have 1413 East End, Chicago Heights, Illinois. It's a commercial storage going for $165,000. Contact Amico Pope, 312-600-7673. We have 1645 Western Avenue, Chicago Heights, Illinois, going for $339,000. It's a commercial storefront. Contact Keith Terry, 773-655-1360. We have 6945 South Dorchester Avenue, Unit 2S. Contact Evelyn Woods. It's a 3-bed, 1-bath, 773-718-9742. 2030 East 72nd Place, Unit 3D, Chicago, Illinois. It's going for $109,000. It's a 2-bed, 1-bath. Contact Evelyn Woods, 773-718-9742. And we have 9049 South Parnell, Chicago, Illinois, going for $279,980. It's a 3-bed, 2-bath. Contact Sebastian Kupiec at 773-430-8988. And finally, we have 1605 South 16th Avenue, Maywood, Illinois, going for $250,000. That's a 4-bed, 1-bath. Tamika Bishop. Contact Tamika Bishop, 630-479-6352. All those addresses are available on www.danteroyster.com, www.danteroyster.com. You can go there and check those out. These are our preferred listings of the week, and hopefully we get some contracts over the weekend.
Yeah, man, I know you can hear me, and I know the audience can make a little fun. My double chins out there were frozen, so we're good. We're going to leave it as it is, and we're going to keep rolling, and hopefully we'll get some questions coming in. But before we start that, you got one more thing to tell the audience that you do every week.
My man, I appreciate you. So on Fridays, people ask me, hey, why aren't you guys on Fridays if you're doing Monday through Thursday? Hey, Fridays are closing days. Those are days that we usually are closing out files and families that have, given us this trust. And so what we do is spend that extra time to make sure that we close those deals out. But on Fridays at 5 o'clock Central Time, 6 o'clock Eastern Time, we do have a newsletter that comes out. The newsletter is a weekly newsletter that we break down a concept, maybe something that we discussed, maybe an interview that I had, give you some information about the products and programs that I can do and help you with. So the newsletter comes out on Fridays at 5 p.m. Central Standard Time. So if you want to be a part of that newsletter, if you want to read some more and get more information about the market, real estate, or mortgage lending, go to www.danteroyster.com. There is a sign up. It should be a sign up link right there for the newsletter. So I appreciate that. Epic Spotlight newsletter.
Perfect, man. I appreciate you plugging that finally. I've been telling you, we got to get that stuff out there because you're putting the work in. Everybody knows how to reach me. I know you guys can hear me and you really don't want to see me right now. My name is Vince. My email is vince@epic.mortgage. And my phone number is 708-359-8578. Please feel to contact me by email or phone with any questions at any time. Dante, let's start off with some questions if we have them.
Yep, let's get them. We got some questions today. Mac writes, "What's the first step you suggest for clients with poor credit?"
And kind of going quick because maybe we got questions. The first definition is what's poor credit. Poor credit's different to every person, right? I mean, FHA allows for credit scores down to 580, and they even allow for credit scores lower than 580. But when you go below 580, you need 10% down. So it's a balancing act, right? It's, do we fix the credit or do we buy the house, take the higher rate or take the hits? And again, it's a choice. So bad credit does not necessarily mean I can't buy a house.
Yeah, I think a lot of times, if you think about it, people, especially if you're not around a mortgage broker, in some states, there's not as many mortgage brokers around. So I'm thinking of, less, just less populations, or, Florida, for example. This is not a lot of brokers, Texas, so a lot of people, their knee jerk reaction is to go to a bank. And so the banks have, higher regulations and stipulations, generally 640 or higher credit scores, generally less than 45% debt to income ratios, and these are things that we have expanded programs that we can actually help you if you don't fit those molds. One of the things that really separates us is our AIP. We have AIP here. What is AIP? Alternative income programs. Our AI programs are really, really top notch. Whether we're doing DSCRs, bank statements, 1099, CPAs, CPA P&Ls. We have expanded product lines that can help all types of buyers and all types of different income. So, if you've gone to a bank and you got turned down, don't give up on the dream and the goal that you're trying to do for you and your family. Contact us today. We can help you. There are other ways to get the deal done, and we can expand that. I was talking to one of our lenders this morning, Vince, and I didn't even know this. On a non-QM deal, we actually have the ability to not count student loans if they are just student loan deferred.
Wow.
Yeah, we can do a full document deal, not count the student loans towards any debt to qualify people. So that's how expanded we can go with some debt to income products that we have.
Yeah, before we hit the next question, let's just put a little tier. The expanded products that we're talking about, and Dante could correct me on this if I'm wrong, you're going to want to be at like a 640 or higher. And if we can maybe go lower, but then you're going to need about 50% of whatever the purchase price is. So if you fall into that 620 and under and you're looking to buy a house, your target is FHA. And the goal with that is to make sure the income is enough to qualify for FHA. If you're self-employed, make sure we're documenting income on tax returns. And maybe for that year or two, in order to buy that house, you have to report more income. So just kind of keep things in general there. But if those are your credit scores, those are your ranges, just to give a quick thing there. We got another question?
Yeah, we do. Yeah, we do. Are you able to see the questions too?
I can see the questions.
Okay, cool.
It's funny listening to myself talk and see my lips not move.
Yeah, what is that? A ventriloquist?
Yeah, it doesn't work. This is not an act.
How do you coach buyers who feel pressured to act too fast?
Well, I mean, that's the market. And if you're waiting, then the question is, what are we like when you're looking to buy a house? You have to go and buy a house like it's your primary job. You have to give it everything that you need to do it because it's a timing situation if you're truly ready to buy. And the pressure in the marketplace is always going to be there. There's always inventory problems. It's always the rush. Then also, too, emotionally, things get involved.
True. I was looking at this stat here. It says housing is the single biggest expense in retirement, averaging 35 to 40% of income. And that sounds about right. Downsizing a home can cut housing costs 20 to 30%, freeing up cash for retirement.
That's a big stat, and there's a lot to talk about that, right? And I mean, again, we mentioned earlier today, the baby boomers are loving their 401ks just rising because the market keeps going up and they're exiting the job market and looking to retire. At a certain point in time, with today's expenses and the way the market is, you really have to look at, does it make more sense to rent a luxury rental than to own a property, depending where you're located? Because if you can put the money away at 4% interest, that's safe, and you're offsetting the rent, you're offsetting the maintenance cost, the repairs, the taxes on the home, and it's just but the discipline is you don't want to give up your home, right? It's a psychological thing that I'm retiring, it's my independence, it's my freedom, but there's so much other ways to look at that, to be able to spend your retirement with the ability to travel and do other things by giving up the house at an earlier age. So just kind of a different play on kind of a question that comes out and a stat you threw up there.
No, it's an interesting one. I think I'm just too much of a control freak myself. I just the idea of relying on somebody, waiting on someone to do something for me is just like I can't even fathom. Yeah, I would prefer always owning versus renting, but I've heard that ideology before, and it is interesting just to see how that would play out. I mean, since it's a you only live once tour that we're all on, it's just hard to have enough data to support, like, hey, this person A, decided to stay at the beachfront and pay $2,000 a month in rent, and this person B decided to own a house in Massachusetts, and let's see how their lives turn out. I mean, it is a constant experiment, but it's just so many variables on every scenario, from what's the income that's coming in, what's the lifestyle that you want to lead, where you choose to live is going to make a big difference, right? I mean, obviously, the playground of Florida, or even like Corpus Christi in Texas, just that whole San Padre, beachfront area.
Yep, South Padre Island, Harlingen, Texas, right on the borderline.
Yes,
Went there for spring break once.
Hey, great time, I'm sure. I mean, if you could go out your house and go straight to a beach and just relax, you want to do it. And
right.
How much money is that actually saving you? I mean, you're saving a bunch of money. You're not, I feel like, especially in the Midwest, I spend so much money just on events to go out and have fun, because, it's like flat lands here. So it's like, I have to do an event to actually, have fun, versus just sitting back and relaxing and, and doing something else. So yeah, all those things make it really and an interesting conversation. It really just depends on what you want. That's why I always think you are your best financial advisor. Jack writes, any tips for helping clients manage fear of FOMO, fear of missing out?
I'll let you roll with that one first.
Any tips for helping clients manage fear? Fear of, it's hard because I don't have.
Yeah, because I mean, I would go right back to my whole thing of, hey, you got to be ready to do it, and you got to be ready to go. There really is no missing out, because you're hustling to try and find the house. So I didn't want to go back and say that, but that's what I would have wanted to throw.
Yeah, I mean, any tips? I mean, I guess I give the facts. Jack, I would give the facts. And the facts and the stats, and then and I hope the numbers will lead them to want to say, hey, I better move and not miss out on anything, because, we have to live in the now, but we have to understand, we have to do self-evaluations. We have to do self-reflections. Some people talk about doing, yoga or some, what's the word? I'm drawing a blank, meditation, in the morning, but we have to like self-reflect, just where we are, what we're trying to accomplish, and how are we, going in that process. I mean, I just think that self-reflection, I really had a lot of self-reflection just today, just in the wake of, the Kirk family and Charlie Kirk, just on like, hey, I got to be careful with my words and what I'm saying out here, because, I know it can affect people, and it can affect people, unfortunately, negatively. And it's just scary that people, could potentially want to do something like that to me. So, thoughts and prayers go out to the Kirk family. That was super sad. But yeah, I just think if you give facts and you give real numbers, I mean, hopefully they will see like, oh my God, I got to get going.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's I say, hey, you want $100,000 a year in retirement, and on average you're going to live about 18 to 20 years. That's $2 million. Where are you on the path? If you're 55 years old and you're trying to retire at 65, that's 10 years to get to 2 million. What are we doing? What is that 10x? That's where, I know you're a stock guy. I love real estate, but I also love stocks. Like, what we have to kind of 10x this a little bit. If your portfolio is only showing 200,000 net worth, that's not a long way to go.
Unless you were holding Oracle or Open Door, and they bring that up in a joking manner, right? Because Oracle gained like 35% yesterday,
right?
And Open Door did roughly the same for today.
Wow.
Right? I mean, and that just goes to show you, at the end of the day, to me, moves like that just shows that everything is inflated.
Well, to your point, even yesterday, in episode was it 26 yesterday, you talked about Robinhood, and I looked up Robinhood, and it was like 81% increase since like March of this year, like when it opened. 81%.
Correct. Well, just think about it. Oracle gained 40% in one day.
Yeah.
Larry Ellison, who's the CEO, became the richest person in the world.
Oh, overnight. Really? Okay.
Yeah, correct. Because he doesn't sell his shares. He borrows against them.
Mm.
And he has a huge real estate portfolio. I mean, granted, we're talking, a billionaire times 10 or whatever. I mean, it's money that doesn't really matter. And it's not money that the average person has. But for that average person who might have had Oracle in their investment account, they had a nice day yesterday.
Yeah, no doubt. I kind of wonder, like, in my head, like, and I said this a couple episodes ago, the Elon Musk, the Larry Ellisons of the world, like, to some degree, they're never going back down to zero.
No.
I mean, the number is going to keep, skyrocketing up, especially their understanding of money, how to utilize money, their inside information that they have, just, knowing the players, knowing the actual owners of all these things. I wonder in my head, like, we have to catch up. They're not going to fall back to us.
Correct.
I mean, there's no mechanism that's like, hey, you won the game, share some of the,
Yeah. I just want to hit you one time, whether I'm throwing a baseball at you or whatever it may be. I just want to hit you once. So that means I made it, right? And that's basically it. I didn't need to take any more chances or any more risk at that point in time.
Yeah. Can I even be in the same stadium?
Correct.
Can I even be that close? Like, I mean, it's just they have, when you become a master at finding ways to, run a successful business, understand how money works, all the ins and outs of making your portfolio grow. I mean, there's just no looking back. I mean, you're just skyrocketing. So it's really us, left to like, well, are we going to figure it out, or are we always going to continue to be the worker bees?
Yeah. They made their first 100,000 and let it roll.
Yes, they did. Mac writes, what are the top green lights you look for before saying go?
The correct property.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, I mean, that's a great question. I mean, first off, when we're doing the pre-approval, right? When we're doing the pre-approval on a mortgage, we're looking at credit, income, and assets. Let's start there. So, we're looking at your credit. Credit's going to dictate what products and programs are available to you. Income is going to determine for how much. And then assets, we can give a rough estimate of like, hey, if you're trying to buy a $400,000 house and you got $500 in your account, that probably won't make it work, right? So these are the conversations that we're going to have. So, the go and the green light is when we're able to review those three kind of categories, seeing where you are and seeing like, hey, can we get there? Because every deal is different. The structure of the deal is different, from seller credits, grant money, down payment assistance. All these things will make a difference into, the bottom line on how much you need. And so we rely on that, just like you rely on that, because you're going to ask me, the two things every customer has asked me for my whole career. What's the payment and how much money I need to bring to closing?
No.
And it's crazy.
That is, right? And it goes back to the prep work, right?
Correct.
I want to prep so when it's ready, I can hit the gas and go. And what I mean by that is when your wife or your spouse walks into a property and that's the house they want, you know when that happens. You know that that's the place. You got to go. But you got to do everything that he mentioned here beforehand in order to do that, because you got one shot at hitting the gas.
Yeah. All right, we got two more and we'll get this wrapped up. Amy writes, can waiting too long ever hurt a client's financial future?
To me, the question is, what is the reason for waiting? And the fast answer to that is, yeah, it's going to hurt. The longer you wait to do investments at whatever level they are, the longer it takes to catch up on the opportunities that were missed by not doing something.
Yeah, I really appreciate that question, Amy. It goes into some of these stats I wrote down. I want you to ponder some of these things. 40% of retirees rely almost entirely on Social Security income. For Social Security for income. 40% of retirees are relying entirely on Social Security for income. So when I found that out from the SSA, I said, well, how much is the average Social Security? The average Social Security check in 2025 is about $1,900 a month. I mean, that's just not going to get the job done.
I don't need to fact check that one. I know that number for sure because I've done the research on that stuff.
Yeah. So, I mean, with inflation being where it is, with the cost of living, what it is, $1,900 is not going to get it done. So, it's the work that you do early and be able to allow things to grow and build, and that's why, sometimes, consumers have said, hey, that's boring because you have to put in the 10, the 20, the 30, the 40 years into something before you can really see it manifest to what it's capable of. We all talk about the Oracle, but man, the Oracle started when he was like 10.
Yeah.
He's 90.
I bought that stock in college at $30. I shot a text to my college roommate. 20 years later, the thing goes up 40% in one day to $330. Awesome. And to add one other thing there, that Social Security number is the reason why that housing is such a big percentage of people's retirement.
True.
When they retire, right? And that statistical number you threw up earlier, that's weighted on that, of course.
Yeah. And so, that's the issue. I mean, the issue is if that's all we're relying on when we retire, it's just not enough. And so what we talk about here and what we kind of go over with our clients is, because I'm closer to 60 than I am 20. And so I'm looking there, I'm right there, and I'm saying, okay, look at the buckets. How much is going to come in from Social Security? How much is going to come in from pension? How much is going to come in from inheritance? How much is going to come in from personal savings? And when you look at those four buckets, that's what unites all of us. That's the one thing we're all united. I don't care if you're President Trump. I don't care if you're Vince Bertocchini. I don't care if you're Dante Royster. We all have the same bucket. All have the same buckets.
You missed one more that retired people go to.
Which one?
Their kids.
I don't count them. That's personal savings. They owe you, right?
That's the one thing, but it still should be part of the plan, right? And and that's one of the things too. If you have parents that are older, no one wants to have those conversations, but those are the conversations you need to have.
I always tell my kids, I'm like, you're going to retire me, right? You're going to make $1 million and retire me, right? I'm just trying to plant that seed in their head. You're going to be successful. I mean, what am I truly saying? You're going to be successful. And success is going to lead to financial freedom. And then you're going to retire your father, right? You're going to take care of your father. Make sure you take care of dad.
Yep.
Because dad put the work in when you were younger. So
I took care of you. You take care of me. That's how this works.
Right. That's the deal.
Right.
Like it or not. All right. So as we finish this up, Brad, what is a good script for telling clients to slow down their purchase? What do you think about that, Vince?
The slowdown, to me, there's no slow. You got to go. But if you feel that they're rushing, as an advisor, you may want to help coach that a little bit. If you feel it, they don't know it, meaning the consumer, because they don't buy houses every day. They're not involved in the transaction as we are. So if you feel like your customer is going too fast, bring it up. Ask the question. There may be a reason.
I like that. I think, there are some charlatan realtors out there that, are really just looking to make money, and they're not always going to put your best interest in front. And so you do have to be mindful and careful of that. And so when I think of slowing down, just making sure that your strategy, your preparation of location, everything fits what you need it to fit. Now, when someone tells you, this is going to be an upcoming neighborhood, make sure that's going to work in your scenario. From location, can you get to your job quick enough, safety, because at the end of the day, when the transaction's over, you have to make the payments. You have to, deal with the crazy neighbor. You have to get to work on time. And you have to make the mortgage payment. So all those things to me are factors that we have to consider, when making a good, wise decision. So if you feel like, I was trying to like, is Brad a financial advisor? But if you feel like your client is moving too quickly on it, just willy nilly, willing to buy whatever, whatever says yes to them, that's when you have to say, hey, let's make sure we have, kind of the guidelines of things that we want to pay attention to and monitor.
I want to throw one thing into that.
Yep.
And you address this all the time, but the preparation on the loan side, it wouldn't feel as rushed if we've already started the process 30 days before they actually started looking.
Right.
So there's other tools through the process to make that sense of urgency reduced. The only sense of urgency is finding the right property.
Sure.
Everything else should have been handled before you started looking.
Yeah, no, that's good. So as we wrap this up, buddy, we let's go over some of the housekeeping notes. Once again, we have if you need preferred listings, this weekend is a great weekend to get out shopping for homes. If you need an idea or something to take a look at, go to www.danteroyster.com, www.danteroyster.com. So go to the website if you want to check out some of the preferred listings we talked about earlier. Hopefully one of those will meet your criteria and we can make a deal happen for you. We'd love to get you pre-approved this weekend. So just give us a call. 708-905-5300 is the office line, or you can call me on my cell, 630-776-2016. And Vince, your information?
Again, my information, my cell phone number, 708-359-8578. My Epic email is vince@epic.mortgage. Feel free to call, text, email throughout the weekend. No worries. I know we got a busy week next week. I'm going to try and go 4 for 4.
Whoa.
Do you want to tease the audience with what you got planned a little bit? I mean, obviously we got big news on Wednesday and so forth, and
Yeah, no, I mean, I have had the pleasure of talking to some guests that are raging to come on here. So we're going to have Steve Searles, a general contractor, going to come on. Matt Sudica, a owner of a commercial insurance. Nimble is going to be with us hopefully on Tuesday. I know the stomach bug and the sicknesses are going around, so got to be mindful.
The guy's coming back, huh? He's coming. Yep. You got a refill there. All right, so it looks like you got next week covered. I know I threw an idea for the following week.
Correct.
What do you say we tease that for 2 weeks out the line?
Go ahead.
So what we're looking for, and we appreciate everyone listening. We enjoy doing this, and we want to get to know you, everybody. You guys are welcome to join us if you're willing to be on the show with us. Whether you're a realtor, client, loan officer, or whatever, either email myself or Dante and say you want to be on the show in 2 weeks from now, and we'll plug you in.
Definitely. That'd be fun. Any hopefully good testimonials if they're a client, but yeah, anybody that wants to come on, this is it's a really a free forum. We're here to answer questions, answer, things that you're pondering as far as real estate. We know most of you can't be with us every day, but we appreciate the times you are with us. We're trying to be consistent here Monday through Thursday from 12 to 1 o'clock. And, and don't forget, if you go to the website, DanteRoyster.com, you can also sign up for the newsletter. We'll have that newsletter out tomorrow at 5 p.m. Central time, and we'll make it happen.
Yeah, man. And thanks to everyone for bearing with us that hung through the technical difficulties. It might have been my fault since I'm the one that's frozen now and you guys can hear me, but at least we got through it. So thanks
we got
again,
it done. Have a great weekend. Go Bears. And hopefully we'll have something to talk about on Monday.
Say a prayer for him when you're in church.
I'll be in church. Yes, Sunday, 1:00. If you guys want to come see me, I will be speaking at the Homebuyers Brunch. Appreciate you bringing that up one more time. Homebuyers Brunch is, let me just get it one more time, 11030 South Longwood Drive, Chicago, Illinois, Morgan Park United Methodist Church. I'll be there Sunday at 1:00. Everybody, take care and have a great day. Have a nice weekend.
Hey, man. Thanks again. Talk to you.
All right. Take care, buddy.
Bye.